The Venetian mask, a symbol of Venice's identity, was a popular part of daily life in the 18th century. By hiding their face, an individual could detach themselves from rigid social hierarchy and become their true selves. This was so popular that laws were continually changed to respond to the masks, regulating, banning, and even enforcing them. At one point, it was even a requirement for members of parliament to wear the Bauta mask during political debates, as to quote Oscar Wilde, "Give the man a mask and he will tell you the truth." In the same way that the mask manipulated the face, I am taking a digital approach for manipulation, exploring how the changing of resolution has its architectural implications. Debating, however, extended beyond Parliament and into coffee shops, where citizens would gather masked to converse freely amongst one another. This is a digital reconstruction of Café Florian in St. Mark's Square. Dating back to the 18th century, it is the oldest cafe in the world and the chosen gathering point for centuries, witnessing debates, meetings with high-profile visitors, and even the plotting of revolutions. Having lived through the epochal changes of the city, the decline in power, population and tradition, Café Florian is visited to this day for its globally famous menu and the lost world of elegance and literary debate that it embodies. My project is a House of Parliament, extending from Café Florian, that imagines a future where Venice is its own republic once again. It is a digital spatial reinterpretation of the Venetian mask, and the point cloud scans of the cafe are manipulated at varying resolutions to create new debating chambers. A digital budget was developed where the number of vector points in the building is based on Venice's population. Each citizen translates to 10 points within the cloud. While today's population is low, the new Venetian Republic seeks to restore its former glory, so taking the 18th century, where masks were most prominent, and the population at the time of 145,000, by distributing 10 points per citizen, an overall budget of 1,450,000 vector points is assigned to the project. The design was developed across 4 key wings of the building and the budget divided amongst them, based off their mass volume and programmatic importance. Within each wing, the points distributed shift in density to form areas of high and low resolution that define the debates that occur within them. Over the course of the design, resolution was consistently regulated and the final point count sits within the budget, with vector points to spare that can be banked for any changes to the building when in use.
Chiaramente affermato, e qui riconfermo, che noi agiamo con serve che il centro ritrovi la capacità riformatrice che ha smarrito da 20 anni a questa parte.
The Venetian mask inspired my project in that the simple manipulation of the face resulted in significant social responses and making of new laws. The Bauta mask even became mandatory in Parliament. The most entertaining example is that of the Nyaga mask. Its popularity amongst transvestites caused a decline in business for prostitutes at the time. When the prostitutes complained about this, they were granted a law allowing them to be topless in public to regain their business. These stories led to my building programme, a House of Parliament for an imagined new Venetian Republic, where Venice leaves Italy and becomes its own republic once again, in an attempt to save its dying identity. Sited in front of St. Mark's Square, the most recognisable part of Venice, the building will be like a mask to Venice, redefining its face while preserving its identity. My approach for a process was to see how the manipulation of resolution in the face can have the same implications as the masks did, and how to translate this into architecture. I began with testing what resolution a scan of myself stops being recognisable. Resolution shifts are already evident in architecture, with Gothic buildings reducing in detail and elements further from sight. This led me to decide that my building will be an accumulation of vector points, in which points should be distributed in a hierarchy of high to low resolution. My first strategy was to derive minimum resolution by mapping 3 landmarks looking onto my site. The idea is that the lowest resolution in my design will appear detailed from these distances. Maximum resolution was defined by the minimum point count needed for a face to be recognisable, using a scan of my face at 1:1 as a test. Within these limits, resolution was distributed through my spaces in zones of high to low resolution. Since the project aims to restore Venice's former glory, these debate chambers orientate around the elements that Venice is most celebrated for, such as art, its multiple islands, its wine and its coffee, and therefore form the priorities within the new Venetian Republic. As witnessed in the Doge's Palace, I wanted to have an excessive amount of rooms, each of which addresses a specific debating topic. These spaces were then mapped on site along a metre-by-metre grid. This collage shows the concept for my scheme and plan, imagining the building as a point cloud. Having worked out an arrangement, I'm proposing a design that is orthogonal in its form, but organic in its point density distribution. Following a grid lets me articulate these tensions while being able to meticulously analyse densities within cubic metre volumes. So, as explained earlier, I gave myself an overall budget for the point count in my project, which arrived at 1,450,000 vector points, from which the project gets its name, Palace of a Million Points. This budget was kept in mind but simplified to a more manageable figure for the early massing of my building, where I divided my volumes into points of 3 densities to start, based on the resolution I had decided on. Digital costs were consistently calculated when developing the design, and recorded throughout the year in this table. Resolutions were reduced, redistributed and redesigned in order to maintain within the budget. These key plans show the areas of the building that are discussed in the portfolio, the proportion of volume they cover and the point count within them. These are indicated in each view in the bottom right-hand corner. This face-to-space comparison shows how the rationing of points within the building create distinctly different architectures, just like how the manipulation of the face had its implications on society, as shown by the Venetian masks. Café Florian, as explained, is a significant element of Venetian identity and has a strong connection to debating and politics of the city. This is a 3D scan I made when visiting the cafe. Located in St. Mark's Square, it is adjacent to my site and serves as an entrance to my building. These scans are integral to my design process. Having analysed their resolutions, I manipulated fragments of the cafe's digital form within my design, as well as adopting their colours. The culture the Café Florian embodies also influenced the programme, and my building is a series of chambers orientated around the cafe's famous menu, now an international brand. The elements extracted exist within the building at multiple scales and resolutions. Using everything discussed, the design was developed and moments were designed based on concept, resolution, zones, manipulation of Café Florian scans. These process models form part of the Florian chambers, where I explored how materiality in the building adopts different resolutions and how tensions between high and low point counts can be visible in physical form beyond digital design. The design focuses on the perspective view in this iteration, how resolution is relative with distance, and how space complexity can be rationed using scale and materiality. This next section explains the overall design strategies of the building before zooming in to present each individual wing. Materials were chosen carefully to help manage point count. Aesthetically, the lowest resolution aspects of the building are the more precise elements and are made of stone or of gold. High-res elements are ambiguous and are made of Murano glass mosaics at different scales. And finally, some parts are made from wire meshes that are low in point count but add an illusion of complexity. The building is developed at a range of scales. The facade, large scale, responds to the initial minimum resolution parameters defined by views across the water. As the building is raised, the facade is never approached up close and therefore can be reduced in point count. The coloured glass is a reduced enlarged element from Café Florian that follows the same logic as the mosaics. In contrast, furniture is designed to embody the same tensions between high and low resolution as the rest of the building, but at a smaller scale and using the same materials. I also designed masks and cakes based on the Café Florian menu to be worn and eaten during debates. Elements shift between scales throughout the building, and here are two examples where the same high-resolution fragment is used for a variety of features, from a 3-floor staircase to the frosting on a cake. Built upon a public park, I have maintained the public space by raising the building above ground. The landscape is a digital monument of the existing Gardinetto Reali as seen from Google Maps. Key tones within the image were extracted and arranged metre by metre to form a pixelated image of the park at a resolution of 1 point per cubic metre. This redesigns the park at a resolution where it still remains visible from satellite view. In this same manner, the roof was designed, but with colours selected to resemble the building as a live CAD model. As a result, the roof stands out from the rest of Venice's cityscape when viewed from satellite. Moving on to the individual wings of the building, which adopt different topics for debate, as seen here. The budget of 1,450,000 points was divided across each wing based on the initial volume of their mass, and regulated as they developed. Wing 1 is the antechamber tower. This is the arrival point and main circulation point of the building, where the occupants use each level as an antechamber space, where they wait before entering the chambers. The tower is a vertical exploration of resolution, with its low-res exterior to be viewed from across the water, and its interior reducing in resolution as it increases with height. Adjacent to the tower is a central gathering chamber that is low in resolution due to its flexibility in program, yet it features detailed mosaic work towards the bottom where detail is accessible. And being in the centre point of Venice, the tower provides views onto the Campanile and to the city. Wing 2 is the Florian chambers. This is the focal point of the building with the highest overall point count. The debate chambers in this wing each adopt a type of delicacy served at Café Florian, such as coffee, wine and gelato. These topics form the pivotal themes for debate within these chambers and serve as priority for the new republic. Beneath the debate chambers are the voting booths for use on election days. Each booth is semi-private and varying in design, but all equal in resolution distribution to reflect the equality in everyone's vote. Wing 3 is the arts debating chamber. The debate chambers are designed to discuss arts including Murano, sculpting and music, topics which are arguably the most prominent element of Venice's identity. The topics overlap in concept, therefore none of the spaces are fully private. The wing is partly exposed to external conditions and is primarily designed from metal meshes that adopted colours visible in the Café Florian scans. Wing 4 consists of the island chambers and the most uniform in its resolution. This wing deals with matters regarding all 118 islands that make up Venice. The wing is made up of 118 archival chambers that fit 1 to 2 people at a time and are spaces to store information about each island, as well as a chamber to discuss the island's conditions. And finally, the brand of Café Florian is extended to the cafe spaces within the main public square within my building, redesigned in the architectural language of the Palazzo Milioni. Please refer now to my final drawings.